Welcome to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. I'm your guest host, Brendan Murphy, and I'm excited to be here tonight for this special episode of Toastmaster Time, which is presented in association with Tales and Tellers Toastmasters, the club that focuses on the art of storytelling. Now, when you first join Toastmasters, you work on the basic, fundamental skills of public speaking. When you move past that development, you get the opportunity to work on advanced abilities by joining a specialty club like Tales and Tellers, where we help each other grow in the advanced skills of storytelling. Tonight, since it's February, our three speakers, Dennis, Evelyn, and Kathy, will focus on the theme of love. Our first speaker is the president of Tales and Tellers, Dennis Dawson. Dennis is a distinguished Toastmaster and past district governor. He works as a technical writer, but also finds time to teach art to school children while also publishing his poems and stories. Here is Dennis Dawson with Lizards and Lovers.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all have at least one thing in common. We are all self-aware. Now, I'll prove it to you. Think this thought. I am thinking. See? Self-aware. Even as I'm giving this speech, there's a little voice in my head giving me critical feedback. In fact, how am I doing? Nailing it! See? Self-aware. Possibly delusional, but self-aware. And it's not like there's just one voice up there. I got all kinds of crazy rolling around. I even have that cartoon angel on my right shoulder, the devil on the left. This guy's always trying to get me in trouble. When I was in middle school, there was this kid, Morty Thorson. He bugged the heck out of me. He was both slow-witted and arrogant, which is a really bad combination. So one time he's picking on Dee Dee Anderson. I had a crush on Dee Dee Anderson. He was making fun of her because she had a striped blouse and a plaid skirt. I know. The angel says, Morty's not nice. The devil says, teach him a lesson. So I walked over to Morty. I said, hey, can I borrow your Sharpie? He handed it to me. I uncapped it. Ha-ha! And I started slashing him Zorro style. There, now you and Dee Dee match. I stood there like Don Quixote, having defended his Dulcinea. I turned to look at her adoring eyes and met my teacher's gaze. She caught me in the act. She whipped out her grade book. She made a big black mark next to my name. It went into my permanent record. She also used a Sharpie. That transgression haunts me to this very day, because it's probably the only time I ever did something you would call willfully bad. 99%, 95%, a good solid B+ of the time, I listen to the angel and I follow the rules. When I was in college, I worked at Disneyland in the parades. I used to love being Brer Bear because Brer Bear was in the same unit as Brer Fox. And in Brer Fox, there was Kim. Kim had long chestnut hair, deep blue eyes, and Kim was a gymnast. She had moves. I could tell even inside the fox costume. Somehow, Big Dumb Bear worked up the courage to ask cute little Fox out on a date. We went to a pizza parlor where they let you write graffiti on the walls. Now, Kim saw a blank spot very near the ceiling, and she asked me to give her a boost. The devil said, her thighs will be pressed against your ears. The angel said, I don't think it's safe. The devil said, thighs, ears. I said, oh, tut tut, Kim, I do not believe that would be safe. The angel patted me on the head. So somebody else gave Kim a boost. She wrote on the wall, "Nobody died," and they started dating. Which of these voices then should I be listening to? The devil who loves anarchy, or the angel who likes to follow the rules? The truth is, neither one. Both of these guys are based in fear. Fear of being a wuss or fear of getting caught. And they're both being manipulated like hand puppets by the lizard in my head. No, stay with me right there. See, at the back of the skull, there's this walnut-shaped thing called the amygdala. It's the oldest part of the brain, the part that does the fight or flight. If I leave the studio tonight and there's a tiger in the parking lot, it's the amygdala that's going to save my life. Fortunately, there are not a lot of tigers in Palo Alto. But that means my amygdala is completely out of its element. It has nothing to do. Where I want to spend my time is up here in what's called the prefrontal cortex. This is the logical part of the brain. It's the part of the brain that's smarter than I am. The prefrontal cortex does not like anarchy, but it appreciates passion. It doesn't like to follow the rules, but it likes doing good. And when you put passion and goodness together, we call that love. Where you put experience and virtue together, we call that wisdom, and that lives up here. Now, fortunately, it's very easy to get out of the lizard brain and into the prefrontal cortex. All you have to do is ask a question. Lizards don't do questions, and it doesn't matter what the question is. What time is it? How are you today? Why are the Kardashians on television? The second that you ask a question, the prefrontal cortex lights up. Now, for me, the question is always obvious. I portray Santa Claus at San Jose's Christmas in the Park. I know, surprise. Last year, I had a very large woman show up with two very tiny children. After the kids were done, she said, "My turn." The devil said, "She'll crush us." The angel said, "He's right." So I asked Santa, "What should I do?" And Santa said, "She needs to talk." So I waved her over, patted my knee. She had a seat. It was okay. She was kind of fluffy and perfumey. She told me all about the man she'd been seeing for 12 years and how she was afraid he was never going to ask her to marry him. Channeling Santa, I said, "You seem like a reasonable woman. The next time the time is right, I want you to tell him Santa says it's time to get married." 2 days before Christmas, we got an email. It had a picture of her showing off her shiny new engagement ring. Whew. So which voice should we listen to? I suggest that you ignore the devil who taunts you and the angel who scolds you, leave the lizard behind, and follow your loving, logical leader. It will always guide you to be your best and truest self. Unless you see a tiger, then do what Santa would do. Run!
Thank you, Dennis, for demonstrating on how to use anecdotes to support your point. To demonstrate how you can convince an audience that you're truly feeling love, we have our Vice President of Education for Tales and Tellers and Advanced Communicator Gold, Evelyn Lee. Evelyn ensures that every meeting has an educational component, and tonight she's going to give us a sample of those kind of talks. Evelyn likes writing her own stories and analyzing on how to communicate those stories to an audience. Here is Evelyn Lee with Convincing Love.
Toastmasters, when you're stumped for a topic, what does everyone recommend? Talk about something you're passionate about. When you feel strongly about something and you share those feelings with others, it can make for a great speech. But when you're speaking of your love of something, how do you get your audience to believe you? Well, you can convincingly convey love of something to an audience using gestures, vocal variety, and descriptive words. But before we get into that, I'd like you to take a moment and think about something that you're passionate about. Perhaps a sport that you like to play or watch, or a hobby you like to indulge in. Perhaps something you own like a pampered pet or a tricked out laptop. or someplace you like to visit and spend time. When you really love something, your posture changes. You straighten up. Your chest opens to allow for more air. Your eyes widen to take in more of what you're attracted to. And you smile, because when you love something, it makes you feel good. I'm going to share now 2 examples for you that convey a love of something. The first is a little more serene. When I'm out camping, it's still early in the morning, very cold. I'm snuggled in my sleeping bag. I love opening the tent flap and watching the sun rise warmly over the mountaintop. Love it. Example number 2 will convey a love of something with a bit more energy. Watch how my gestures change. My beagle is so fun and very cute. When she bounds across the living room towards me and her little ears are flapping, oh, I just love my dog. Did you see how when I got very enthusiastic, I tensed up, I grinned, and I even squinted my eyes a little? It's almost like the feeling is so intense that it hurts. Sometimes, however, we can feel very passionate about something, but instead of tensing up, we do the opposite. We relax, our shoulders drop, our head lolls a bit, and our eyes look dazed and dizzy. Here's an example. The perfect French fry is a golden brown, slightly crispy exterior. Add salt and oh, I love a good French fry. To repeat, gestures to convey a love of something convincingly. Make sure you smile. If you want to show extra enthusiasm, you can tense up, or you can get very relaxed. To give you one more example, we're almost upon Valentine's Day. To paraphrase Jean de la Bruyere, the sweetest sound is the voice of the one you love. So another aspect of convincing love is your voice. When we have a love for something, it makes us happy. When we're happy, we smile. Sometimes we grin. If you talk at the same time as smiling or grinning, what happens is you start to stretch out the words. Let me give you a list of colors, and just using my voice and facial expressions, I'd like you to guess which colors I think are just okay, which ones I like, and which one I love. Beige, gray, green, yellow, red. Did you hear how I stretched out the word red? That was the clue that that's the one that really means a lot to me. In a sentence, stretching out words might sound like this. Standing in line at the Apple Store for hours was totally worth it. My new iPhone is awesome. Let me tell you why I love it. Each time I stretched out those words, it was an audio cue to the audience that I was feeling strongly about something. The only problem is if you stretch out too many words in a row, it sounds a bit adolescent. I recommend stretch out maybe just one word. Redoing that example, standing in line at the Apple Store for hours was totally worth it. My new iPhone is awesome. Let me tell you why I love it. When I said the word awesome, not only did I stretch it out, but I increased my volume. Getting louder during a speech is also a cue to let the audience know that this part is important. And one last important point. If you want to sound convincing when you're talking about something you love, you have to include descriptive detail. If I only said, I love cooking, and then didn't say anything else and moved on to some other subject, well, I had the right facial expression and I emphasized the word love, but without understanding why I love cooking, it's hard to believe. Instead, if I said, I love cooking, the sound of onions sizzling in the pan, the smell of spices as they heat up, and then the taste of something delicious that I created. Now, when you hear that description, you understand what I'm feeling when I'm cooking. Therefore, it's much easier to believe that I do love cooking. The next time that you are cooking up a speech about something you love, remember to smile when you're introducing the topic. You can tense up in excitement or get extra relaxed and dazed. Remember to stretch out a word or two, increase your volume to let the audience know that that part of your speech is important to you, and don't forget descriptive detail. If you use the right gestures, vocal variety, and descriptive words, the audience will believe you, and they're going to love the love you're sharing.
Thank you, Evelyn. I'm convinced. Our next speaker is convinced that her first meeting with her soon-to-be husband had a little extra help. Kathy Brancheau is the Tales and Tellers secretary. She's an advanced communicator silver and a natural-born storyteller. She uses her storytelling skills for years to teach elementary school kids. We're lucky that she's decided to share these skills with us adults. Kathy is taking a true story and adding an imaginative and fun perspective. Here is Kathy Brancheau with Clarence Cupid.
Do I have everything? Oh my gosh. Oh, where's my bow? Where's my bow? And oh, I'm so nervous. Where was I supposed to go? Oh, hello. So nice to see you all out there. Oh, forgive my manners. Clarence Cupid here. Capital C, and I'm proud of it. Yes, capital C, now that I am a Cupid. Oh, but it wasn't always like that. There was a time when I was apprentice to the master. Oh, the honor it was to work with the master. Oh, but let me tell you, he was one picky boss. Every day when we came in for training, everything had to look just right. Our hair had to be all in curls. Our wings had to be immaculately combed. And our feet, no shoes. Oh, I had the hardest time with that. 'Cause you see, my feet, they're so sensitive. I get blisters just walking around on the clouds. But the boss said, no shoes. There was something he would talk about, a Renaissance painter that he knew a long time ago, and all kinds of stuff, but I really didn't know what he was talking about. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. No shoes. Well, when we began as an apprentice, we were given a wooden bow and told, go out and find a whale to practice on. Oh, let me tell you, They were so easy to hit. Oh, and we loved to dance in amongst all the water droplets as they fell from their flukes and flippers, as they would hurl themselves out of the water and splash down, all to show off for the girls. Oh, my goodness, they would ripple that water, and the more they would ripple the water, the more the women would get excited. And it was our job to take and make sure we persuaded them for when they got close together, well, you know. Then when we graduated from whales, we went on to bears and moose and fish, but we knew we were getting close to our final goal when we were told we could practice on birds. Oh, the boys would dress up in their finest feathers just to persuade the ladies. And again, it was our job to make sure they said yes. Oh, the hummingbirds, they were so hard to hit. But once we got those two together, oh, we knew we had graduated on to people. Some people are so easy to hit. They have giant, wonderfully big hearts, and other people have like a force field around them that nobody and nothing can get into. But thank goodness I didn't have to deal with that. We had had a couple on the radar for a while. Oh, there was a lot of laughter and smiles between them, and things were going pretty good. And it was going pretty good for me too, because you see, I was just about ready to get my Cupid's bow. Oh, but the golden bow, that was the one to have. But it only could be gotten by a Cupid's apprentice shooting the arrow on February 14th. Any other day, just a silver bow. As I was saying, everything was going great. Everything was set. I was so nervous. I looked at my watch. It was February 14th. Oh, just perfect. I saw Don coming up the stairs, and I heard Kathy coming to the door. I readied myself at the railing, and I set the arrow, sending off straight and true. Oh, I knew it had hit the spot when there was a beautiful glow around her face, and her eyes twinkled with the light of 1,000 stars as she gazed upon Don. Ah, true love, how magnificent it feels, even for us. Ah, yes, the energy rippled out from both of them like ripples in a pond, and even my little toes turned pink. Now I understood why the boss had said, no shoes. I was so excited, I flew back to headquarters to tell them firsthand. But when I got there was a look on the boss's face. He was mad. And when I got into the control room, I looked up and saw it was only February 12th. How? And then we heard laughter in the back of the room. Mr. C knew there was something up. And after he had gotten in and talked with all the other apprentices in my group, the truth came out that they had changed my watch just to have a little fun with me. Well, let me tell you, Mr. C wasn't laughing. He took and put them all on cloud washing duty for a week. And as for me, well, I got the silver bow. And soon after that, I got the golden bow. And yes, I still have that wooden bow as a memento of their true love. Oh, you want to know why I was so nervous and upset when we first met? Well, even though I've been Cupid for 15 years now, I now have apprentices. And so I have to, excuse me, I have to go find what they're doing. Hopefully something good. It is about February 14th.
Thank you, Clarence. Thank you, Kathy. At this time, I'm going to invite our three speakers to join me up here at the lectern. And as they do it, I want to invite you to consider checking out Tales and Tellers Toastmasters. We meet on the second Sunday of each month from 6 to 8 p.m. at Pablo's Pizza and Pasta in the party room. And this is in San Ramon, California. Come check us out. Evelyn here will buy you dinner for free for the first-time guest. Now, if you'd like to check out our website, please look us up at Tales and Tellers, one word, all letters, talesandtellers.toastmastersclubs.org. Well, that's our show. Thank you for watching Toastmasters Time. We record our show right here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and if you're interested in more about our organization, Toastmasters Time, please check us out at toastmasterstime.com. Now, we're sponsored by the 57th District of Toastmasters, and they have a local website, d57tm.org. That's d57tm.org. Now, if you're interested in general items about Toastmasters, or you want to find a club near you, please go to the Toastmasters International website, toastmasters.org. Once again, toastmasters.org. We really want to thank the Media Center crew and volunteers here tonight who made this possible. And on behalf of myself and Dennis, Evelyn, and Kathy, as well as the crew from Toastmasters Time, we want to thank you and encourage you to have great love stories that all end happily ever after.